Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. Modi government will be enumerating caste as part of its upcoming census. This is a very important announcement, and the timing of this is particularly interesting. The nation is angry and grieving over the lives lost in recent Pahalgam terror attack. A caste census, remember, was a long-standing demand by the Congress party and also certain opposition parties, but welfare and representation, BJP under Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also tried to showcase itself as the only political party that's committed to the interests of deprived sections of the society. Now, this is undoubtedly a big move with political and social ramifications, political reactions, owning of credit, appropriation of viewpoints, and also politics over this has already begun. But the larger point here is also the government drawing a distinction between the UPA conducted SECC in 2011 and also caste surveys being done in many Congress-ruled states, saying all of that is unscientific and the BJP will do a better job of it because census is, after all, a union subject. Now, it also shows when it comes to the Bahujan of this country, BJP wants to walk the extra mile because Hindu unity is core to its politics. Remember, this is what the RSS has also been talking about. Incidentally, only yesterday, the Prime Minister had a very important meeting with RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat at his residence. Let's look at what this means for the politics of this country, starting with some reactions to this story.
It is well understood that Congress and its Indie alliance partners have used caste census only as a political tool to ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics. Caste enumeration should be transparently included. I am emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys. This will strengthen the social and economic structure of our society while the nation continues to progress. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census.
ये हम लोगों की 30 वर्ष पुरानी मांग रही है और ये हमारे पुरखों की जीत है, समाजवादियों की जीत है, लालू जी की जीत है। आज हम लोगों की ताकत देखिए, समाजवादियों की ताकत देखिए कि इनको हमारे ही एजेंडे पर जो है काम करना पड़ रहा है। तो अब हमारी अगली लड़ाई ये होगी कि जब ये जनगणना होगी जिसमें इंक्लूड किया जाएगा कास्ट सेंसस का भी, तब उसके बाद जब नतीजे आएंगे देश के जो विधानसभा चुनाव में हमारी मांग रहेगी कि पिछड़ों और अति पिछड़ों के लिए भी, जैसे दलित और आदिवासी भाइयों का आरक्षित सीटें हैं, जो है आरक्षित सीटें जो है वो करनी पड़ेगी।
ये बड़ा और ऐतिहासिक फैसला है जिसके लिए मैं अपनी तरफ से, मेरी पार्टी लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी रामविलास की तरफ से, मेरे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूं। मेरे बिहार की 14 करोड़ जनता की तरफ से और समस्त देशवासियों की तरफ से मुझे लगता है आज एक लंबी जो हम लोगों की इच्छा थी, मांग थी, ख्वाहिश थी, आज हर उस देशवासी की इस ख्वाहिश को मेरे प्रधानमंत्री ने पूरा करने का कार्य किया। जातीय जनगणना का सबसे ज्यादा असर देश के तमाम उन गरीब जातियों से आने वाले लोगों को होगा जो संभवतः अभी तक मुख्य धारा के साथ नहीं जुड़ पाए हैं, केंद्र राज्य सरकार की योजनाओं का उस स्तर पर लाभ नहीं ले पाए हैं जो अपेक्षित था।
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को मैं विशेष तौर पर धन्यवाद देता हूँ, बधाई देता हूँ। बिहार और पूरा देश आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को याद कर रहा है, जिन्होंने जातीय जनगणना के साथ जोड़ने का काम किया है। बिहार और पूरा देश आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को विशेष तौर पर बधाई देता है और साथ ही साथ क्योंकि कई पार्टी सिर्फ जातीय जनगणना को राजनीतिकरण करने का काम कर रही थी, इसलिए आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को मैं फिर से बधाई देता हूँ।
ನಮ್ಮ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟೋನಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಬರೀ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಬರೀ ಈಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜನಗಣತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅದೇ ಸರಿಯಪ್ಪ. ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ सोशियो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ।
मनमोहन सिंह जी साहब ने इसका सेंसस करवाया था 2011 तक इसका सेंसस पूरा हुआ था, फिर भी ये सेंसस को लागू करने के लिए, इस सेंसस को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए बहुत सारी दिक्कतें लाएगी और उसका विरोध पुरजोर से अभी की सरकार ने किया था। कास्ट वाइज सेंसस की घोषणा सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर वैष्णो जी ने की, इसका हम स्वागत करते हैं। सच तो यह है कि ये काफी दिनों से हमारी मांग थी। राहुल जी ने संघर्ष करके इस मांग को कंटिन्यूस स्क्रीनिंग की बात की थी कि हर समाज को उसको अधिकार मिले, ये विशेष रूप से ओबीसी समाज को ये अधिकार मिले और उनके आरक्षण का भी जो प्रॉब्लम हो वो भी सॉल्व हो।
It's been a long-standing demand of the opposition parties, the Congress, the DMK and other parties which believe in positive social justice, that we needed some sort of a data for reservation or for other welfare measures which had to be targeted to the population which deserves. So this is something that we have been asking the union government to do. Now the BJP has understood that it is a genuine question or the genuine demand of the people that was put by opposition.
My colleagues Harsha, Deepak Bopanna and also Sam Daniel are joining us now. Harsha, to you first. Harsha, it was in Rajasthan where the Prime Minister had made that important pitch during elections 2024. Given what happened in 2024 and what is happening today, this announcement of caste census, how do you understand, how do you reflect on the learnings that the BJP has had in the course of the last few months?
Well, yes, absolutely. You know, they have started looking very closely at the caste matrix, and for a state like Rajasthan, caste is really key. It's sometimes the caste is more important than any overriding emotion. So you saw in 2023, Ashok Gehlot in Baswara announced on World Tribal Day that, if the Congress was voted back to power, they would carry out a caste survey. Now we saw that the BJP also had to deal with these caste dynamics in Rajasthan. If you look at the caste flashpoints, a lot of the former BJP leaders, so that goes back to 2001, 2002. They started the reservation movement for the economically weaker sections in the upper caste. Then there was the Gujar agitation, which said that, look, we are in OBC, but we're not getting the benefits of reservation. We want to be in tribals. Then you had the Jats of Dholpur and Bharatpur saying that, if all other Jats have reservation, why have we been exempted? Just because we are a former royal state. You also saw, the Malis, smaller reservation movements like the Malis agitating for reservation. And then, of course, you saw this whole Ganga Jal controversy where, a Dalit leader went into a temple and it was sprinkled with Ganga Jal. The BJP immediately realized that it's something that they'll have to pay the political price for, and they sacked Gyandev Ahuja. So that's how important the caste matrix is in Rajasthan. We've been talking, like you said, the overarching Hindu identity is something that the BJP has tried to push, especially in tribal areas, and yet you see the growth of the Bharatiya Adivasi Party, which is a party with a completely new tribal identity. It's not Congress, it's not BJP. So that's important. That's how important the caste matrix is in Rajasthan. I would in fact say caste is key to understanding the politics of Rajasthan.
Absolutely. Deepak, you belong to a state which has just recently seen this whole discord in the Congress party because of the leaked report of caste survey. Tell us what was the fallout of that, and how is the Congress party looking at today's announcement, because Siddaramaiah has already come out with a statement.
Well, they'll be looking at it very keenly, especially some within the Congress party, especially some of their own ministers, because of the fact that, they have had issues with the state census. Though they're, of course, not naming it a census, they're saying it's a socio-economic survey. But we've seen a lot of differences, haven't we, in the past. But there was a very clear instruction that was given by the Congress High Command, especially to Karnataka, which was somewhere, putting this particular survey on the back burner. 2015 is when it was commissioned. In 2025 is when they've actually gone ahead and accepted it, and then even taken it up for discussion, and even now the report has not been made completely public. So that is where some of the challenges, of course, lie as far as the state census is concerned. Now that the center is saying that we will come out with a comprehensive census and we will come out with the data of the caste enumeration in the country, the Chief Minister has already said this is a part of the Congress manifesto, was mentioned in the past, and we'll really have to see how they will go into the details, especially if it is going to be a socio-economic survey, because only that could actually do justice to the backward classes. So we could also see in a short while from now the AICC president, who is at his residence here in Bengaluru, react as well, and we'll be putting out that for our viewers.
Okay, Sam Daniel joins us from Chennai. Sam, tell us how are the Dravidian parties expected to look at this, because this was something that the DMK also was supporting the Congress for, and AIDMK now is in alliance with the BJP there.
That's right, Vasudha. The ruling DMK welcomes this, saying it's a shot in the arm for the opposition, for the India bloc, which mounted pressure. And this has made, in a sense, the BJP make a U-turn after claiming this is impractical and will be divisive in that sense. And with 1 year to go for elections in the state, the ruling DMK hopes this will, in a sense, consolidate the OBCs in that sense. And the BJP, of course, having struck or revived alliance with the AIADMK, hopes to consolidate particularly the votes of the Tevar community, which it's trying to unite since after Jayalalitha's death, after the rivalry between EPS and OPS, the party in a sense is divided, and they hope that this will unite them and bring them together in one block to help them expand their footprint in the state. For safety reasons, in a sense, the DMK avoided going for the caste survey, saying that it can be done to be only by the center to be legally valid. And the bigger question would be, in a state which has the highest percentage of reservation, 51%, would the outcome of caste census be in any way contradictory to the present form? Right. And that could be seen as a majoritarianism. That's something the government is cautious, but they hope that will not happen. The census could reflect the way things are at the moment on the ground, they say.
Right. Thank you, Sam Daniel. Thank you, Harsha. And thank you, Deepak, for joining us with those details. We have Chandan Gowda, who's a political analyst. We have Adil Singh Boparai from the Congress party. We have Shazia Ilmi of the BJP. And we have Dr. Milind Awad, who's also somebody who understands caste. Joining us now, Shazia, to you first. In 2011, the data of the socio-economic and caste census, which was done by the UPA government, the data has still not been released because in fact, this is what the centre said in Supreme Court in 2021, that 46 lakh different castes. There were a lot of complexities, multiplicity of caste. How is the government looking at overcoming these challenges? How foolproof do you think, and how transparent do you think the exercise is going to be?
First of all, Vasudha, thank you for inviting me on your show. And I want to tell everybody, to all the viewers of NDTV, through you, Vasudha ji, that is indeed historic. First time ever since independence, caste census will be a part of the population census. And this will be done alongside the population census, which was pending. We all know it was to be done and had to be done during COVID. So it's actually great news and historic news. And despite the fact that it comes in 7th schedule, and Union could have done it anytime earlier, despite many promises in 2010. And despite the fact that the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had promised to include the caste census, Congress always deterred. So it had to say one thing on the face of it and use the entire idea of caste census and talking about it as a political tool and keeping the cauldron burning. But when it comes to action and doing it, the cabinet has approved this very big historic decision, which will have a huge impact. And it is already sending some kind of tremors to the India Alliance. Of course, I've changed the name and I call them Pindi Alliance because they're Rawalpindi folks. But I really think it's been stumped. But more than that, more importantly, it's a big win for India. And the idea the Prime Minister has of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and justice, social justice, and economic justice. And all this information according to caste, along with the name, gender, age, and other details, will be taken by the population census and ensure that what exactly is the position of various castes, because until now it was only scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
Right.
So for the first time since independence, I should say after 1931, I think this is being done. So this is historic indeed.
So that's a
and
very
huge
valid
and
point.
momentous.
Adil Singh Bapura of the Congress Party, after the Congress and the India bloc made very fierce demands about the national caste census, now we do see the caste census coming up, but it also shows that the BJP is willing to walk that extra mile. It does not really care about whose idea is it. This is not part of its commitments to people. It's not an ideological promise, but clearly the BJP realizes that this is something that the Bahujan of the country wants, and it wants to do that. Do you see this as something that can blunt the narrative of social justice that Rahul Gandhi has been talking about?
It's a vindication. It is a vindication of our position. It is a vindication of our vision. And if hypocrisy had a name and a face, it is the BJP today. Absolutely, this is a decision in the right direction. It was after Congress Party's sustained and continuous perseverance on the floor of the House and outside the House that the BJP has to finally buckle. They had no option because there was groundswell of anger. They can't make a necessity and masquerade it as a virtue. They had no option because the Congress Party and 1.4 billion people of this country had mounted unparalleled pressure on this government to act. And therefore, they buckled and they've acted. So therefore, we welcome this decision. Having said this, there are a few pointers. The BJP should not just make it appear like a slogan and forget about it. This needs to be done immediately and as soon as possible. They should not delay it on some pretext or the other like they did with the women's reservation bill. The BJP has a track record of making announcements and being short on implementation. That's number one. Number two, it must be done in a transparent manner. Number three, there are several Congress-ruled governments, opposition governments, where this has already been put into action. So therefore, they must seek our advice on the nuts and bolts of this census. We can contribute. If we have to work as a cohesive unit, if we have to work as Team India, they must be open to best practices which we've already adopted. Because at the end of the day, it is the people of this country. We are servants of the people of this country. We exist to serve this country. Okay. So therefore, if there are ideas, there are policy measures which can be borrowed by them, they must be open to it. Unfortunately,
okay, before I come to Shazia, Professor Gowda, clearly the BJP has had a rethink in the last many years, and there's nothing wrong in that because political parties have to evolve according to needs of their population. But how do you see this as a political gamble? Do you see this as a logistical challenge? What do you think the government should be thinking about right now to get this exercise right? Because in Karnataka, in your own state, we saw this creating a lot of discord even amongst the ruling party leaders.
Yeah. So Vasudha, I don't see any logistical difficulties. It's just an additional column with the existing columns in the National Census Survey papers. So it doesn't cost much extra money at all. Please remember, every state doing its own survey, like Telangana, Karnataka, Bihar, they've spent crores of rupees, lots of people actually on the ground collecting data over months, etc. All of this could have been averted if it had the caste census earlier on. Just for the record, the Vajpayee government was under pressure to do it by civil society activists. They didn't do it. The Congress government it announced to do it in 2011 and went back and had a separate caste census, which is not helpful because just having data on caste without being able to link it with socioeconomic indicators is not very useful at all. But it's being done now. If there's one advantage of having a delayed national census is it's going to include this variable now.
Right. Dr. Awad, also help us understand what does this mean for the SC/ST, OBC population of this country? Because, we've been talking a lot about representation. Does that also mean that, proportional representation could be on the, could be something that we can look at in the future, and also rejig of quotas? What does this mean for the Bahujan of this country?
Precisely. I think this decision is too late to, welcome, because first caste census was done in 1932. Second caste census was done in 1962, and after that there was demand, particularly post-Mandal India and Indian polity, raise this demand, and this demand was quite visible across the country. So whenever now we talk about OBC reservation and further fragmentation within OBC reservation, caste census was one of the major issue which was discussed across the state. So if you take the example of OBC reservation in Haryana, Jat reservation, reservation of Maratha reservation in Maharashtra, Lingayat reservation and their claim in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So these examples, this demand and their assertion basically based on the participation in the liberal democratic institution through reservation is one of the major issue. But since we did not have caste census, there was no rational, empirical or statistics to rationalize reservation based on preference or preferential reservation or further split reservation. So basically, I'll just finish my point. So basically, now if you take the example of Telangana, there is demand of...
Right, Dr. Awad, that's a very valid point. Let me just get in Shazia here, because Adil has also been saying that, this is because of the Congress party's vindication. How do you see this, Shazia, when opposition parties say that this is the BJP following, their, in a sense, their demands?
I want to make 2 points here, and I think they will answer the questions or the misgiving of sorts that was being pointed out by my colleague from Congress. And I feel when these facts are brought to surface, he will do the fact that he asked this question, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, let me tell you, it is not the Government of India, but the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner of India, who actually under the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, actually conduct this. And this has it's been happening since 1948, so it actually predates, this Act of Parliament predates the Constitution, so to speak. So Census of India Act predates the Constitution of India, so it does not bind the Union government whatsoever. So it's an independent body which is there. It has nothing to do with the government of the day. So best practices and all need not be offered as an idea by anybody. But a more important point, and that will make your viewers understand this a little better, and this is purely factual. I want to tell everybody that in 2010, the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji did try, and he did assure the Lok Sabha, and I will present you the evidence, I will dig that out and show it to you, that caste census would be included and would be considered by the cabinet. But many cabinet ministers and most vocally, it was Chidambaram who actually said that this should not be there and we cannot have a caste census, and that's why it was not done. And the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji, despite his assurance, could not make it happen, and because
Adil, quickly, would you like to respond to this?
This survey, so Congress and India Alliance have just used it as a tool, and everybody knows that Union could have done it any time.
Adil,
because as per Article 246.
Your closing remarks, Adil.
Some basic facts to cut out the theatrics.
Adil?
If I find it baffling how the BJP can literally somersault with a straight face. But be that as it may, number one, I think this is a game-changing idea because this helps in better targeting of social welfare schemes. We have more data. We have empirical evidence to come up and formulate schemes which can better address the targeted beneficiaries, number one. Number two, and I say this with responsibility, there were BJP ministers, there were BJP members of parliament, and surely BJP spokespersons in their motor mouths who accused the Congress party's
there was Manmohan Singh. There was
this is a very bad habit of interrupting.
No, it's just facts.
Let me complete. It doesn't behove of somebody as senior as you to interrupt.
But you can be factual, my dear friend, and talk about your party also. No, it would just it would lead more credibility to your answers. So that's all. I was helping you, in fact.
Let the people of this country judge each other's credibility.
For once, both parties are on the same page, Adil and Shazia. Both of you want the caste census now, so that's a good thing. Professor Gowda, you wanted to make a point here, sir.
Vasudha, this is not fair. I haven't completed yet.
Okay, please finish. Yeah.
So therefore, let me complete my point. It was the BJP ministers and MPs who accused the Congress party of dividing society. They slandered us, Vasudha. The BJP used to slander us when we demanded for a caste census. It is publicly documented. These hypocrites used to slander us Today it is a vindication. It is a vindication for one.
Okay, Adil, I'll have to give the last word to Professor Gowda. You wanted to say something, sir.
Yeah. So, Vasudha, it's one thing to talk about what the caste census will do in terms of how reservation policies will be affected by it, etc. Very quickly, the National Commission of Backward Classes Act.
Okay, Professor Gowda, I'm really sorry. Rahul Gandhi is speaking. Rahul Gandhi, Congress MP, is speaking now. Thank you so much.
तोड़ के हटाएंगे। पता नहीं क्या हुआ, सडनली 11 साल बाद नरेंद्र मोदी जी कहते थे कि सिर्फ 4 जाते हैं, सडनली कास्ट सेंसस का अनाउंसमेंट किया। हम इसको सपोर्ट करते हैं, पूरी तरह सपोर्ट करते हैं, मगर हम टाइमलाइन चाहते हैं। हम जानना चाहते हैं ये कब तक होगा, और ये एक पहला कदम है। तेलंगाना एक मॉडल बना है कास्ट सेंसस के लिए, और वो ब्लूप्रिंट बन सकती है। और कास्ट सेंसस को डिजाइन करने में हमारा पूरा सरकार को ऑफर है, पूरा समर्थन है कि हम डिजाइन करेंगे, क्योंकि डिजाइन बहुत जरूरी है। क्योंकि 2 एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, एक बिहार का डिजाइन है, दूसरा तेलंगाना का डिजाइन है, उसमें जमीन आसमान का फर्क है। और मैं दोहराना चाहता हूं कि कास्ट सेंसस पहला कदम है। हमारा जो विजन है, एक बिल्कुल नया डेवलपमेंट का, विकास का पैराडाइम हम कास्ट सेंसस के माध्यम से लाना चाहते हैं। सिर्फ रिजर्वेशंस नहीं, मगर हम सेंट्रल सवाल पूछ रहे हैं कि चाहे ओबीसीज हों, दलित्स हों, आदिवासी हों, उनकी देश में कितनी भागीदारी है। कास्ट सेंसस से एक प्रकार से पता लगेगा, बट कास्ट सेंसस से आगे जाना है। हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, संस्थाओं में इनकी कहां कहां पार्टिसिपेशन है, पावर स्ट्रक्चर जो है उधर कितनी पार्टिसिपेशन है, ये नेक्स्ट स्टेप है। और हम चाहते हैं कि इस डायरेक्शन में कास्ट सेंसस जाए। हमने एक और चीज कही थी, कांग्रेस पार्टी ने रेज की थी, मैनिफेस्टो में भी था, आर्टिकल 15(5). आर्टिकल 15(5) इज रिजर्वेशन इन प्राइवेट एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस। ये कानून है, ऑलरेडी कानून है, और हम चाहते हैं एकदम इस कानून को एनडीए की सरकार, बीजेपी की सरकार इंप्लीमेंट करना शुरू करे। सेंसस को डिले किया है और अपोज किया था, हम इसको वेलकम करते हैं। ये हमारा विजन है, इन्होंने अडॉप्ट किया, बहुत अच्छा, मगर हम चाहते हैं कि हमें डेट्स बताई जाएं, किस दिन तक ये सेंसस होगा, बजट में इसका पैसा आना चाहिए, अभी बजट में पैसा नहीं है, और फिर जो डेवलपमेंटल विजन है वो हमारे सामने प्रेजेंट होना चाहिए। तो ये मैं आपसे कहना चाहता था, अंग्रेजी में बोल देता हूं। कास्ट सेंसस वी हैव बीन फाइटिंग नाउ फॉर सम टाइम, गवर्नमेंट हैज अपोज्ड फॉर सम रीजन, वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दैट रीजन इज, दे हैव सडनली डिसाइडेड टू डू इट, वी वेलकम दैट, वी आर हैप्पी that they have done the caste census. Telangana is a model state for the caste census. There are 2 caste censuses in front of us. One is Telangana, the other is Bihar. They are completely different caste censuses. The Telangana caste census, the questions have been developed by a process of consultation, not a closed process, open process, by asking the stakeholders what are the type of questions. And it's been a very detailed, very granular exercise. We would like the national census to follow some of the ideas of the Telangana census, and we are more than happy to help the government develop the national census on similar lines. We've had 2 other issues that we have discussed which are also central, which is the 50% cap on reservations. Now this is becoming an impediment. This is becoming an impediment to development, to progress of our country, and to the progress of backward castes, Dalits and Adivasis. and we want this 50% barrier to be eliminated and broken. We have stated that. We have put enough pressure on the government to get the caste census done. We want a date by when it's done. We are going to put pressure on the government to make sure that 50% cap is destroyed. And after that, there is a third thing, which is the Article 15(5), which is reservation in private educational institutions. It is already a law. We want that law to be implemented as soon as possible. So that is broadly the structure. We see the caste census as a new paradigm of development. And we want to go beyond the caste census. We want to understand what is the participation of 90% of our population in the power structure of our country. Where are they participating effectively and where are they not participating? And we want to give them participation and access to power. So we are absolutely convinced in the Congress party that the caste census is a first step of a completely new development paradigm in the country, and we are going to push this paradigm through one way or the other. It doesn't matter what the BJP thinks. We have shown that we can pressure the BJP into doing the caste census. We are going to show you that we are going to pressure the BJP into doing 15(5) and also removing the 50% cap. I think every Congress member, every Congress worker, every single person who has fought for the caste census, and there are millions of people, activists from the backward communities, Dalits, Adivasis, I'm very proud of what you have done. This would not be possible without the effort, without the hard work that you have done. It has been a sustained campaign that we have run, and I'm very proud of every single person who has helped us in this campaign. Thank you.
So you said that the government was opposed to this and suddenly decided to take this step. Do you think that this decision has been taken in light of the upcoming Bihar polls?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's why this decision has been taken in a hurry. I don't need to comment on whether they took it, when they took it, how they took it. Now they have taken it. We are happy they have taken it. Now this needs to be taken forward.
सर, प्रधानमंत्री बार बार ये कहते थे कि ये 4 जातियां होती हैं सिर्फ देश में. अब अचानक से फैसला हुआ तो क्या लगता है कि आप
Well, Congress leader and leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, they're addressing a very important press conference saying that caste census, the important announcement that's been made by the Modi government today, changes the politics of this country, and it's an important move in the political realm of this country. But he, of course, is taking credit for this idea and also saying that a lot needs to be done, including the law that needs to be brought in. Well, that's what was said by Rahul Gandhi today. But good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV and this is the 7:30 p.m. news break. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a very important high-level cabinet meeting on political affairs in the wake of the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam. And this meeting happened today. The Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs, CCPA, also met today. In fact, it's being called the Super Cabinet, and it was underway in the morning. And it's also expected to huddle over the next possible measures to be taken. With that, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.